is it possible to break this cycle of criminality against ourselves? Is it a matter of
So I've always wanted to believe that. I've always wanted to believe we could break the cycle, and I'm embarrassed actually about some things I used to believe. I used to think that the migration to the digital world would give us infinite access to information, and humanity could become permanently smart. And I feel like a little bit of a naive, Victorian Whig who imagined in 1890 that we would do nothing but make great products and ennoble people ever more progressively. And there was no chance of going back. And yet here we are. Right? So I don't think so. I think we have to, I'm not sure. These are profound questions. I'm not entirely sure I understand, but it seems like we need to have a culture that embraces human rights. Like even Bitcoin, as glorious as it is, can't overcome, it can persist through, but it cannot finally overcome a world that doesn't believe in freedom. So along with blockchain technology, and I want to talk about this, we also need an ideological, philosophical structure of culture that embraces human rights and peace. Mm-hmm. Like we have to have that. If we don't have that, I'm not sure how, then we just become survivors,
Right.
And it becomes that Mel Gibson movie. What's that? He wrote like
Braveheart.
No, the one with all the deserts and all the the driving the cars around.
Oh, Mad Max.
Yeah, it's Mad Max, except we have sound money. So I don't want to live in that world.
Yeah.
And let me just say something about Bitcoin, because God bless it, right? I mean, during the lockdowns, it never blinked, never once. Mm-hmm. Never went down. It was never hacked. There was never a 40-day period. There was, when Trump announced 15 days to flatten the curve, Bitcoin didn't blink, mm-hmm. Right? I mean, it just pushed through. And so, and you look at it, over 20 months, our religions failed, our healthcare systems failed, our schools failed, our travel failed, airlines, supply chains, food delivery. There were massive failures in every sector of life. Mm-hmm. Bitcoin ignored it all.
Yes.
Clean slice through every state in the world, like a sharp sword.
Brilliantly said, honestly. I have less eloquently said that it was the only thing that didn't shut down March 2020. Yeah. You brought up slavery earlier, and clearly that's a past that is one of those things we look down on our ancestors, right? I can't believe they would ever do that, et cetera, et cetera. But this is a point I often make. The definition of a slave is someone under an effective tax rate of 100%, where all the fruits of their labor go to the tax authority. Mm-hmm. So we can all quantify our own personal spectrum of slavery by what our effective tax rate is. And, taxation comes in a lot of flavors, but Bitcoin at least addresses the inflation side of the equation, where we can hold our wealth and our property in a money mm-hmm. that cannot be inflated. And my hope would be, that level of freedom somehow reflects back into us and our characters and our actions, that we would strive to establish more of this freedom-focused philosophical foundation you're describing. I guess my view is just that we have this relationship, right? The tools we make in turn make us back. So how do you see the role of technology and tools in establishing this new philosophical purpose?
I wrote a book called A Beautiful Anarchy, which is mostly entirely incorrect, as I look back on it. It's embarrassing. Actually, I think a copy of that book is about $900 on Amazon right now. So, because apparently the publisher, took it out of print or something like that. So I should probably republish it. It's in 3 languages, but the English version is like $900 on Amazon. But it celebrated all the big tech titans, and I imagined a world of information and free flow of ideas. So I had a chapter on the glories of Facebook and the glories of Twitter and the wonder of LinkedIn, and YouTube is magnificent for empowering individuals. And of course, over time, they all became corrupt. They all became basically state voices and state companies. I mean, like, we have a constitution, so the government can't actually violate our free speech rights, not very well, but can outsource its ambitions. And they outsourced all their ambitions to big tech. So that book was mostly entirely wrong. What I didn't understand is that all these privately owned companies have a central point of failure, and what we really need are these distributed systems, that transcend state, the real metaverse, which is to say, above and beyond politics. And those tools are doing extremely well now. And one of my favorite thinkers is George Gilder. He wrote a book called Life After Google, and he said Google's a centralized company, but that's not the future. So I'm fully anticipating all the companies I celebrated in that book, Beautiful Anarchy. I wasn't anarchist enough, in other words, in that book.
Right.
Yeah. True anarchism is not possible without distributed networks.
Yeah.